Dale Robertson seemed in 60 films and more than 430 TV episodes, but he usually referred to as Oklahoma Home. Acting was only an activity like operating in a manufacturing unit. With these phrases, 89-year antique Dale Robertson subsequently shattered the Hollywood myth he lived in the back of for half a century. The man who charmed hundreds of thousands in westerns were hiding something he never wanted to be: a celebrity. From turning down awards to averting the spotlight, this is the story of ways one in every of TV's biggest cowboys fooled everyone. Dale Robertson was born on July 14, 1923, in a small city called Harrah, Oklahoma. His complete call was Dale Lemoyne Robertson. At the time, Oklahoma became nonetheless developing and changing. It had most effective been a kingdom for approximately 16 years. Dale's family had deep roots within the location. His grandparents had been a part of the Oklahoma Land Run in 1889. Wherein people raced to assert land. Growing up, Dale heard tales about the one's difficult times which made him pleased with and which he came from. Dale's youth happened all through the Great Depression, which made lifestyles very hard for plenty families. Oklahoma changed into hit even more difficult due to the Dust Bowl. Terrible storms of dust destroyed farms and made it hard to survive. When Dale was 8 years old in 1931, his circle of relatives had to cope with those storms. They could cowl their windows with wet sheets to keep the dirt out. Sometimes they'd locate piles of dirt in the house. Life wasn't easy, but Dale's dad and mom labored hard. His father did abnormal jobs and his mom offered pies and jams to make extra cash. Dale helped too, operating on farms to earn a little cash by choosing cotton or milking cows. One thing Dale loved from a younger age changed into horses. His own family continually had some horses, even during difficult times. Dale spent a lot of time riding and looking after them. When he turned into simply 10, he turned into already a splendid rider. In 1935, whilst a rodeo came to Metropolis, Dale noticed professional riders appearing great hints. He desired to be like them, so he began working towards even extra. By the time he became 15, he changed into competing in neighborhood rodeos or even gained a massive event on the Oklahoma State Fair. He used the prize money to help his circle of relatives. At 17, Dale went to Oklahoma Military College. He had been a first-rate athlete in high school. However, he wasn't allowed to play sports activities anymore because he had finished expert boxing fits for cash. The military university turned into a sparkling start for him. He labored tough, had become a pinnacle athlete, and stored boxing at the facet to make more money. One time, a Hollywood producer observed him after a boxing fit and presented him a role in a film. However, Dale said no. He became too younger to depart his family in college for appearing. Dale's time on the Army University changed into interrupted through the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Dale and many younger men decided to enroll in the military. He left school to serve his USA, placing the entirety else on preserve. He started out his schooling at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, then moved to Fort Riley, Kansas, in which he changed into a part of the Pony Cavalry. Dale's management talent stood out, and he became dispatched to Officer Candidate School in Fort Knox, Kentucky, where he became a 2D lieutenant. During the battle, Dale confronted risky battles. He became a tank commander within the 777th Tank Battalion throughout the North African Campaign. In April 1943, his tank turned into hit in a fierce fight close to Tunis. Miraculously, Dale changed into thrown out of the tank and survived, but his group did not. He changed into left with shrapnel wounds in his legs that scarred him for existence. After recuperating, Dale again to the combat. This time he became with the 322nd Combat Engineer Battalion in Europe. In September 1944, his group needed to construct a floating bridge across a river beneath heavy enemy fireplace. Dale led his guys, even as dodging bullets and artillery. He'd become wounded again by means of shrapnel in his knee, but handled himself and stored going. His bravery turned into exceptional, but because he by no means stated his harm, it not on time his Purple Heart Award. By the cease of the conflict in 1945, Dale had earned the Bronze Star, the Silver Star, and subsequently the Purple Heart for his braveness and sacrifices. These stories stayed with him and formed his character. The quiet strength and determination he showed in real existence might later turn out to be part of his performing roles, particularly in westerns. After the struggle, Dale's Hollywood profession began in a totally sudden way. In 1945, at the same time as stationed in California, he took a photo to send to his mom back home. The photographer concept Dale gave the look of a movie-famous person, so he displayed the image in his studio window on Hollywood Boulevard. Talent scouts observed the image and were impressed. One day, Dale walked by means of the studio and noticed his very own picture within the window. Before he knew it, a scout approached him and offered him a display screen check. Dale wasn't sure approximately acting. However, the scout convinced him to provide it a stride. Just before leaving the military in February 1946, Dale did the display screen take a look at, and the Digicam loved him. Dale commenced with small roles. His first was in The Boy with Green Hair, 1948, playing a policeman. After that, he had minor parts in The Flame and the Arrow and Fighter Squadron in 1949. These roles were not large, but they helped him benefit experience. Later that year, he got a larger role in Fighting Man of the Plains, a Western with Randolph Scott. This was the beginning of his adventure to becoming one of the maximum-liked stars in Western movies and TV. His journey to reputation started with a bit of success. In 1949, he were given the role of Jesse James within the movie Fighting Man of the Plains. This took place just days earlier than filming started out because the original actor were given unwell. Dale wasn't well known at the time, but he became given the danger and he labored hard to prepare. He stayed up for 36 hours straight, learning the whole thing he may want to approximately Jesse James. When the movie got out, human beings loved his overall performance. Critics called it outstanding and stated he made Jesse James feel real. The movie became a big success, earning $3.2 million, which became lots of money again then. This position made Dale a celeb, and soon after he signed a massive settlement with 20th Century Fox. After this, Dale became considered one of Hollywood's favorite actors for Western films. Between 1950 and 1956, he starred in 14 westerns, taking up lead roles and proving he ought to carry a movie. One of his largest early successes changed into Return of the Texan in 1952. The film made $4,100,000, and Dale's overall performance showed he turned into best for cowboy roles. During this time, he worked nearly non-stop. In 1954, he regarded in 4 westerns and slightly had time to rest. In an interview, he stated he slept in his own mattress, simplest 37 nights that year due to his filming timetable. Dale also labored hard to make his roles experience real. For Sitting Bull, 1954, he spent weeks residing with the Sioux tribe, mastering their language and way of life. This earned him admire from Native American actors, who even gave him an honorary membership in their community. People frequently compared Dale to the well-known actor Clark Gable because they appeared and sounded alike. This similarity helped Dale early in his profession. Producers noticed him as the next Gable, and this opened many doorways for him. For instance, he were given a lead function in The Farmer Takes a Wife in 1952, a role originally planned for Gable. But being in comparison to Gable wasn't constantly easy for Dale. He felt like human beings noticed him as a copy in place of spotting him for who he turned into. To stand out, Dale started choosing roles that were greater, complicated, and difficult, specifically in westerns. This approach labored. In 1957, he starred in Tales of Wells Fargo, a TV display that have become very famous. It sooner or later made people see Dale as his own character, no longer only a Gable look-alike. Dale's love for westerns shaped his complete profession. About 70% of the films he made were westerns. Between 1948 and 1970, he acted in 63 movies, and 44 of them had been on this style. He wasn't just typecast. Type soup type. Dale cherished westerns. He as soon as stated that westerns spoke to the American spirit, and he desired to be a part of that story. He continually labored difficult to make his roles experience real. Before filming Dakota Incident in 1956, he spent months mastering horseback riding techniques from the Lakota humans. His willpower made him stand out and earned him lots of respect. Dale cared deeply approximately preserving the records of the West. In 1962, he started the Dale Robertson Western Heritage Foundation. He used his very own cash to assist projects that blanketed and celebrated the way of life of the American West. Over the years, his foundation gave thousands and thousands to those causes. Dale didn't simply act in westerns. He helped maintain their memories alive for Destiny generation. Meanwhile, Dale Robertson became a star on TV thanks to his function as Jim Hardy in Tales of Wells Fargo. The display began on March 18, 1957 and had become an immediate hit. It ranked excessive in the scores, reaching 0.33 area at some point of its first full season in 1957-58. And staying famous for numerous years. Robertson's position as the Wells Fargo agent made him a family call, and the series ran for 6 seasons with 201 episodes. People cherished the display because it mixed fiction with real history. Jim Hardy became a fictional character, however, the tales regularly blanketed actual activities and well-known figures from the Old West.